More than 300 tickets handed out to Capitol protesters are
Republican nominee Mitt Romney with 20% and former Florida Governor Jeb Bush with 16%.
Mitt Romney has plans to visit Wisconsin this spring. Forward Janesville announced he'll be a keynote speaker at the organization's annual dinner on April 7th. The Janesville Gazette reports tickets for the event go on sale on Monday. More than 300 tickets handed out to Capitol protesters are unconstitutional.
That is the opinion of a three-judge appeals court panel that upheld a lower court ruling from Dane County today. This all dates back to the spring of 2012. When the Solidarity Singers met outside the Capitol every day at noon after collective bargaining protests had ended. A year later, Capitol Police were debating how to handle safety and enforce the Rotunda's permit policy once the group moved the sing-along inside. In September of 2012, officers began handing out tickets and arresting protesters. In a case that brought the appeal, a man was cited in July of 2013, and a Madison judge tossed out that ticket in February of last year. Today, the appeals court upheld that decision. Now, the man who challenged that ticket and earned a second victory in court today tells 27 News he feels vindicated. But as Capitol Bureau Chief Greg Newman explains in tonight's Capitol Report, this may not be over yet.
Participants, do not move outside or disperse. They will be subject to arrest.
July 2013, when Capitol Police made it a point to crack down on the Capitol Singers.
I couldn't believe the tactics being utilized by the State Capitol Police that day, and I took a deliberate act. I sang.
For that, local radio talk show host Mike Crute was arrested and got one of the hundreds of citations handed out. But on Thursday, Crute and others who had been arrested celebrated the state appeals court ruling that the DOA permitting process was unconstitutional, and therefore, so are the citations.
More than a dozen judges have now told Walker and his administration this was not the correct use. You shouldn't have been arresting these people.
Ready fiddles for the singers to assemble on the mall.
But this saga may not be over yet because the Department of Administration could still ask DOJ to appeal this ruling one more time.
We're reviewing the decision right now.
The Department of Administration oversees Capitol Police and has already asked for one appeal. A second would take the case to the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
We didn't exactly know what the courts wanted to do. We were trying to maintain order in the state capitol to the best of our ability and at a level that was within what we believed the interpretation of the law was.
Crute believes the state should spare the taxpayers any more legal expense.
If they choose to prolong it, I think it shows the pettiness of the governor, Mike Hipsch, and apparently Brad Schimel if he chooses to join in.
At the state capitol, Greg Newman, 27 News.
And speaking of the state's new Attorney General, Brad Schimel, his Department of Justice would have to agree to file an appeal. Justice officials released a statement today simply saying they were conferring with DOA on how to proceed.